This is Mrs. Cronquist, and we're going to go over the Semester 2 practice exam for Math 7. That's Saxon Course 2. Alright, so here we go. I'll probably do this in 2 parts just to make it a little easier for you to target what you need to know. Alright, 480 divided by 25. The most consistent, easiest way to do this is to do a long division. Alright, 25 goes into 48 once. That's weird, so they changed color. Okay. If I subtract, I get 23. Yes, 23. So 25 goes into 239 times. And that's going to be 225. Leaves me 5. This is 5 over 25, which simplifies to 1 over 5. Alright, so that's going to be 19 1/5, or 19.2. Remember, you're doing a multiple choice, so you will be given a choice of numbers to do this with, to answer. And it'll tell you what format, but just by the choice. Alright, so number 2... just stack them up. Remember to stack your decimal point. Alright, and anything's missing, put in a 0 so they all line up nicely. We add the columns. 0, 0, 4 is 4. 6 and 7 is 13. Carry the 1. 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Carry the 1. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put our decimal. There we go. That should be your answer. Alright, number 3. 6.7 minus... well, what is 4 minus 0.78? 8 from 10 is 2. This is now a 9, and that's a 3. 7 from 9 is 2. And 7 from... 0 from 3 is 3. So, that would be what this answer is in here. Okay. And now we're going to subtract again. 6.70 minus 3.22. 10 turns out 6. 2 from 10 is 8. 2 from 6 is 4. 3 from 6 is 3. So our final answer would be 3.48. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. And now we're on number 4. 0.13 times 0.16. And we're just going to stack those up and multiply. Remember, we do not drop the decimal point like we do in addition or subtraction. We're going to count the decimals. My final answer is going to have 4 decimal points because there are 4 decimals here. So 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 1. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 0 for placeholder. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. Now we add them. 8, 0, carry the 1, 2. And we said 4 decimal places, so we need to put an extra 0 over there. So that would be our final answer. Alright. Now we have 0.16 divided by 64. So we have 64 and 0.16. Well, 64 doesn't go into any of those, so we're going to have a 0.00 and give it a 0. 64 does go into 160, and it goes in twice, and that's 128, which is going to leave me 32. Bring down the 0, 64 should go into 32 5 times, 325 times. So 5 times 4 is 0, carry the 2. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2 is indeed 32. There we go. So our answer is 0.0025. Alright, here we're going to add. So first we add all our whole numbers. And that's going to be 5, and 4 more is 9. Plus, now we're going to add up all our fractions. But notice they all have different denominators. We need a common denominator. So we're going to turn that into a 6. So it's going to be 3 over 6 for the 1/2, 1 over 6, and then 1/3 is equal to 2/6. Alright, 3, 4, 5, 6. This whole thing becomes 6/6, which is 1. 9 plus 1 is 10. Alright, now we're back up to number 7. Now, to subtract mixed numbers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double check my 6. This fraction, the 1/6, is not larger than the 3/4, so I need to borrow. So what I'm going to do is turn that 6 into a 5 and take it and add this extra 1 I just took off of there in the form of a 6 over 6, and I'm going to end up with 7 over 6. Now I'll be able to subtract my fractions. So 5 minus 2 is 3. And now we have, well, we're going to change those into 12ths, aren't we? So that's going to be 14 twelfths minus 9 twelfths. 14 because 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 6 is 12. 9, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12. Alright, so 14 twelfths minus 9 twelfths is what, 5 twelfths? I can't simplify that any further. So my final answer is 3 and 5 twelfths. Alright, now when I multiply and divide, I must switch them to improper fractions. And then we're going to, for multiplication, we multiply straight across. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So I have 11 fourths. Times 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16 over 3. Remember, we multiply straight across. Alright, so I can make my numbers a little bit easier by getting rid of this 4 and changing this 16 into a 4. The 16 divided by 4 is 4. Now I've got 44 over 3. Now, it depends on what the answers, how they're laid out. I think they're laid out as mixed numbers, so we may need to convert this. So this is going to be, what, 14? Yeah, 14 and 2/3. Alright, we're looking at number 9. It's dividing, so again, mixed improper fractions from your mixed numbers. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25 over 6. It's divided by 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11, 11 over 2. And now we flip the second term and we multiply it. So it becomes times, and the 2 is now in the numerator and the 11 is in the denominator. Now, I can turn that into a 3. So now I have 25 over 33. They have nothing in common, so that's done. We can't change that into any other reduced form. Alright, 24 over 42. I'm going to look at the factors of 24 over 42 when I write this out, so that I can see things I can cross out. And I see automatically I've got a 6 in both of the two numbers. So I have 6 times 4, that's my 24. You know what? I'm not going to do the x because we have x's and it's going to be confusing. So 6 times 24 with a dot, and then we have an x and 2 y's. Our denominator has a 7 times 6, 2 x's, and 1 y. Alright, the 6 cross out. These 2 x's cross out, and those 2 y's cross out. So I'm left with 4y over 7x. And I can't reduce it further. Which digit in 50143 has the same place value as the 9? Well, the 9... that huge giant bar line. Let's try that again. The 9 is the third below the decimal point. Third below the decimal point is 3. These happen to be thousandths. So the answer, though, is just 3. Just wants to know what number is that same position. Alright, when we multiply scientific notation, we multiply the whole number, or the numbers. 6 times 3 is 18. And when we multiply the two bases, what we do is we add the exponents. So this becomes 18 times 10 to the 9. Now, the problem is, 18 is not standard scientific notation. Scientific notation can only have one digit in front of the decimal. And right now we've got 2. So we change this into 1.8. Remember, that's actually times 10 to the 1 to get it to be 18. And then I still have the 10 to the 9. So I have 1.8 times 10 to the 10. That's my final answer. Alright, second page. Convert 1.2 meters to centimeters. Alright. So, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. I've got meters, and I'm going to centimeters, so I have to move my decimal 2 places. So I'm going to have to stick a 0 in there. So my answer is 120 centimeters. Alright, so remember, this is what they give us, but we use 9/5 because that's more accurate. So 9/5, this is not more accurate, but anyway, it's easier to do in our heads. So we take 45, we divide it by 5, we multiply that by 9, and then we add 32. So that's 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, write at 4% in fraction form. Well, remember 0.04, and so it becomes 4 over 100, which simplifies to 1 over 25. So that would be my fraction answer. Okay, here, there's 2 ways to do this. Since we're multiplying bases, 2 to the 5th times 2 to the 4th is 2 to the 9th. And this is 2 to the 3. So, what I can do is rewrite 2 to the 9th as 2 to the 3 times 2 to the 6th. So 6 plus 3 is also 9. Now, if I'm dividing that by 2 to the 3, I can cross those out. So my final answer is just that 2 to the 6. Okay, that's a slightly different way than I've shown you before, but I think it's a little bit easier for you to understand. Alright, the other way to do this would be that you could write out all the 2's. Write out 9 2's and write out 3 2's and cross off the 3 2's, and you'll be left with 6 2's. So it's your choice how you want to do this, but this is a convenient way to do it, and I think pretty straightforward for you. Alright, square root of 36 squared, 6 squared is 36, minus 4 squared is 16. This gives us the square root of 20. And I think the final answer on the test is actually a whole number. It's actually perfect to square. So that's all the further you need to go. I know we got a little confused with trying to simplify it from there. So we don't need to. I made sure the test doesn't do that to you. Alright, write 20 and 2 thousandths. Remember the and represents the decimal point. So 20 and 2 thousandths we need a thousandths in our the 2 in a thousandths position. Remember, this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So the answer would be 20.002. Okay, hang on. Estimate the product of, okay, remember it says estimate. That means I'm going to use a 9 for 8 7/8 because it's almost 9. Product tells us we're multiplying. 12 1/3 would round down to 12. So 9 times 12 is 144. So that's our estimate of what that value would be. Now we're going from least to greatest, so the first thing I look for is negative numbers. If you only have one, that makes it very convenient, so it comes first. Next, I'm looking for the divider of 0. No. Alright, so but I do have a 0.3. So that's going to be smaller than any of the others. Instead of 0 ones. The others have 3 ones and 3.3 ones. Okay. So, now I'm between the 3 and the 3.3. Well, 3.3 is 3 and 3/10. Whereas 3 is just 3, so it's smaller. So we would line them up this way. Alright, what does m equal in this proportion? Alright, so we multiply and we multiply. So I don't know if you can see what you do to 4 to get 2.4. It's confusing. You have to multiply by 0.6. So we have 4n equals 2.4 times 3.2. Now you could work that out the long way. But what might be easier first, if I'm dividing this by 4, I'm actually dividing it by 2 times 2, which is 4, right? Okay, well 2.4 divided by 2 is 1.2. 3.2 divided by 2 is 1.6. Now I can multiply those and it makes my life a little bit easier. So 1.6 times 1.2, 2 times 6 is 8, carry the 1. 1 times 2 is 2 times, 1 times 2 is 2 times 1 is plus 1. That's what I'm doing. 3. There we go. Alright, 0. 1 times 6, 1 times 1. 6 and 3 is 9. 1. The 2 decimals, so 1.98 would be your final answer. Okay, now hang on. Yep, 1.92. 1.92. What did I do wrong? Oh, 2 times 6 doesn't equal 8, it equals 16. I'm sorry, it equals 12. Silly me. So let's get rid of those 8s. It's actually 6 times 2 is 12. It should be 2. So it should be 1.92. Alright, teams win-loss ratio. So wins were 5, losses were 2. The team played 140 games, so that's my total. So that would be 7, 140. How many did they win? So that's this top category. So now I don't have to worry about this, and I've got a proportion with 2 fractions. Okay, 7 times 10 is 140, so 5 times 10 is 50, so x is 50. Alright, and now we're looking at 23 and 24. The average of Blanca's first 4 test scores was 92. So the sum of the first 4 would have been 92 times 4, which is 368. The average of our next two, so the sum of the second two was 90. So that's 90 times 2. So that's 180. So we're going to take her total and then divide that by 6. So we have 8, 4 carry the 1, 3, 4, 5. 548, and divide that by 4. Okay, so, sorry, not by 4, by 6. 6, actually maybe I'm going to do it over, I'm going to make that line smaller so I have space over here. So I have 548 divided by 6. 6 goes into 54 9 times. Bring down the 8. 6 goes into 8 once. 2. So I have 20. 6 goes into 20 3 times, so that's a point. 3. 18. 2. So it looks like I'm going to keep having 3. So it's going to just be 91.3. I'm going to double check that math just because I don't want to mislead you. Yep, that's right, 91.3 with a bar, but since we're talking about test scores, we're just going to say 91.3. Alright, Sam's first 6 scores were, what's the median? Alright, we're going to put these in order. This is the easiest way to find the median, and then we got to find the middle. Since we have even number, our middle is going to have to be the average of 2 numbers. So we have 90 and 70. So the middle 2 are 80 and 80, which means their average is 80. So our answer is going to be 80. Alright, and I'm going to end it here, and I'll do the next 2 pages in another.